Yep, we're doing another one of these. And when I say another one of these, we have actually done 2 episodes of this in the past. This one is slightly different, and I'll explain that in just a second. So if you haven't seen those previous parts that I will be referencing in this video, go back and watch them now, and then come back to this one. And what I mean by slightly different is that those 2 previous videos have all been based off of what I would like to see come out of an Infinity Saga wave, whereas this video is just what I want to call a Marvel Multiverse line of sets, so I will be including things like Venom, SpiderVerse, all of that sort of stuff on this list, as well as the MCU. And now, without further ado, let's jump straight in talking about this Avengers 2012 set. Now, I imagine this being in slightly similar styles to something like the Bespin Duel or the Nebulon B, something that has one of those little plaques that is at the bottom. This would include the main cast of the Avengers first film and pay homage to the scene where we see the full turnaround shot of all of the Avengers suiting up and battling for the very first time. Now, I see this being a sort of £60, maybe £50 to £60 set. Obviously, it includes 6 minifigures or something along those sort of lines, so it would definitely be on the more pricey side, but I would hope in a set like this that LEGO would really go out on all of these minifigures. I'm talking leg printing, arm printing on most of the figures, just to differentiate them from the sets that we've had in the past. Obviously, this would have to be done in a year where not a lot of other themes would be printed, just so they have enough slots, and this would of course be a great way of getting the new Hulk big fig with the posable head. Definitely would be a good set, and I see a lot of people being interested in a set like this. Moving multiverses here, well, at least we think we are, wink wink. Moving on to something from the Venom universe, I think getting something like Eddie Brock's apartment would be quite good, especially because we're getting a lot of sort of apartment sets at the moment, especially with the Infinity Saga line where we're getting sort of small apartments like Bro Thor's house. Definitely think something small along those lines would be good to get an Eddie Brock minifigure from the Venom universe, as well as a Venom big fig, as that version of Venom is a lot bigger than a person. Maybe not too big figgy in terms of an accurate size, but I think it's an opportunity for them to give us a decent Venom figure as a big fig, as we already have many Venoms as minifigures already. Or maybe even use it to create something like a mid fig. I think that would be very odd, but definitely something worth looking at. Obviously, in my mind, the Hagrid piece wouldn't work, but we've seen LEGO experiment with mid-fig sized things before, so maybe having a Venom-style mid-fig would be quite cool as well. Scooting over to the game universe now, considering we got a lot of sets based on the new Avengers game, I would very much like to see something from the new Guardians of the Galaxy game. Maybe this would be their opportunity to give us a new quote-unquote mid-fig of Groot, which I really am looking forward to. I really want a new adult Groot figure. I don't necessarily think it would be too much to ask for this Groot to look more like this Groot, especially in terms of a minifigure, without it getting too, oh, he's meant to be in this set kind of situation. But I think getting versions of all of these brand new looking Guardians of the Galaxy figures would be a really cool inclusion to get in just 1, maybe even 2 sets. This game is definitely taking a brand new approach on how the Guardians of the Galaxy look, and I don't know, I would love to see a new version of Star-Lord, Mantis, Rocket, Groot, Gamora, and Drax, all from this game, and might give us more of an excuse to get things like the Collector's Gallery, but not have things like the San Diego Comic-Con collector minifigure included. I definitely think there are some opportunities here for LEGO to branch out the Guardians of the Galaxy universe into these sort of game sets and bridging the gap between the MCU and the games. Something like the Hall of Armor from Tony Stark, specifically the extension. Now, I know I've ragged a lot about this set, but that's primarily because you've already released one set and then you put an extension with different suits in it. But the set is clearly based on something like the MCU and used things like MCU suits and kept them in the same game style, just to not break continuity. If you want to hear more about this argument, go and watch my One Piece helmet versus the opening helmet video, which is one of the most popular videos on my channel at this point. But yeah, would love to see versions of this Guardians of the Galaxy as figures. Think they would look really cool in minifig form, especially Drax maybe using a glow-in-the-dark body and torso, as he seems to have that fluorescent green thing going on. Would love to see it, but enough about this. Let's move on to the Spider-Verse. Now, a lot of Marvel sets, I feel like, definitely focus on the minifigures, and I definitely see this being one of the sets that they are going to bring out eventually. And this is the scene from the end of the Spider-Verse, where we have Kingpin battling the Spider People. I have literally no idea what you do for the build of this set, but I would love to see versions of Miles Morales with the green jacket and the spray-painted Spider logo on the torso. I feel like that Miles Morales figure, it was just so close to being perfect without being truly perfect. But we've had most of the Spider characters before. We've had Spider-Ham, we've had Spider-Noir, we've had Spider-Gwen. The one character we haven't had yet, considering that Marvel are doing a load of mechs at the moment, is Penny Parker, and I would love to see a version of her and the mech, as well as an old rundown Spider-Man, and I think this would be the perfect set to give us those minifigures in the correct outfits and in the correct looks that we want, just to finish off our Spider-Man collection. And this could be an excuse to give us a more accurate looking and updated Mary Jane, considering that right now we're using the Michelle Jones figure as opposed to an actual Mary Jane equivalent. However, I do think the Daily Bugle was the perfect place to debut a figure like that, but you know, we'll get into that when I actually make that video. Now, making these videos is actually incredibly difficult. Each one requires countless setups, audio recordings, and late nights. And that's why those of you giving that little bit of extra support really do make my life easier and help buy camera equipment, lighting rigs, and smoke fluid, truly helping with that little bit of extra funding to really help this channel go a long way. So a super special thanks to people like Brother from Another Brick, Tommy Rich, Pixelcraftian, Topic Bricks, Vicinity, Revenge, and a super thanks to Brighter Switch Bricks for being a tier 5 member. Now, there's obviously a lot more of you and you'll see a full list at the end, but if you want to become a member and really help support these videos, click the join button next to the subscribe button to just see a list of details about becoming a member and to see a full list of perks that you guys actually get, from desktop backgrounds to discounts off my website. So a massive thanks to these awesome people that have decided to put money from their own pockets into the channel thus far. Anyway, thanks for listening, back to the video. Moving on to the helmet line, I would love to see an Ant-Man helmet. I know the Marvel helmet line only consists of Iron Man so far, well, unless you include the Venom and the Carnage, but I don't really count them, as they tend to be more organic heads. But in terms of the next helmet they should do that isn't Iron Man, if you're not going to update the Iron Man, I would love to see an Ant-Man. Now, I know Ant-Man isn't the most popular of characters, however, I do think a helmet design out of Lego, I think this would be a really good inclusion to have in something like the helmet line, and you never know, you could include something like a Wasp statuette figure, which we're still yet to see. Now, in terms of the Disney Plus shows, this is one of those sensitive areas for me because I know we're getting the CMF based on these shows, but I don't know whether we're getting any sets. Now, obviously this wasn't included back in the Infinity Saga line because they're technically not part of the Infinity Saga, as they are now set after the Battle of Endgame. So unfortunately, a lot of you guys commented this, but I can't include them on my Infinity Saga videos, hence why this video is slightly different, is I would love to see personally a monochrome WandaVision set from the first episode. So many people have already done amazing renders, and I just think having a black and white version of the minifigures and the set itself would be one, a really fun challenge for Lego, and two, would be a really cool unique piece on a shelf. Just look at Steamboat Willie. It's one of the things that really does stick out on a shelf because it's in black and white. Having a similar Marvel set in this style would definitely encapsulate the episode that it was based off of, and would be a cool way of getting just a small piece of the WandaVision show on a shelf. And I think I'd like to see at least one little set based on all of these shows at the end of it after things like the CMF, as I think it would be a cool way of branching out into the extended Marvel universe, and obviously give us a lot more opportunities to get some of these cool minifigures that I don't think we'll ever get to see Lego produce. Now, onto this last set, because I don't want to make this video too long. I've already had to cut out 4 set ideas that I had, so maybe there'll be a part 4. I really hope this would be the last episode, but I've still got some on this list. But the last set I have on this list is a Spider-Man No Way Home set. Now, I talked about this a little bit in my announcement video, as a lot of the Spider-Man No Way Home sets have just been revealed, but the set I would really like to see, if Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire are reprising their roles as the old Spider-Man, I would love to see a set based on the scene in the film where they all come together and fight an enemy. I don't know what enemy, but I'd love to see at least a redone version of the Andrew Garfield suit and the Tobey Maguire suit, and potentially the Civil War suit, all in one set. And I know that that's sort of a big ask from Lego, because I imagine including 3 Spider-Men in one set would be kind of a weird move for Lego, especially when they all look pretty much the same. But if this scene happens in that film, which again is still up in the air right now, I definitely think it would be a really cool set to have. Not only would you have updated versions of all of the minifigures to Lego's quality of today, instead of going back and having to buy all of these old figures, which right now can cost up to £20 each. It would also be a good excuse to get a new version of the Andrew Garfield suit, which the only one we've had right now is a Comic-Con figure, and that is from the Amazing Spider-Man 2. If you made an Amazing Spider-Man 1 figure, at least then it would be way different enough to the point where people who own that Comic-Con figure aren't going to get upset that it's going to devalue. And obviously for the enemy of the set, we know people like Dr. Octopus are coming back, and we know Electro's coming back, so new versions of those figures would be great. And now with things like the Daily Bugle Dr. Octopus figure using that really cool arm design, I'd love to see a updated figure of Alfred Molina's Doc Ock using a technique like these new arm pieces. I can't wait to see what LEGO come up with. If this set is in the film, I'm sure they'll have a set based on it, but this would be super hush hush, and I hope if this scene is in the film, we do get some form of LEGO set surrounding it. But those are all the sets I have for you today. Like I say, I do have a few more on my list, so I don't know whether I'll make a part 4 to this. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I'll see how well this video does. If you do want to see a part 4, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Once again, thanks to all the members that make these videos possible, and I will speak to you guys in the next video. Goodbye.